Hello, everyone. This is Laura Olmstead with DNAngels, and I have a case that had so many twists and turns we just never saw coming. So our client is named Emily. She reached out and she had one goal. She wanted to uncover the truth about her mother's biological parents. Her mom, Margaret, had been adopted as an infant, and though she lived a fulfilling life with loving parents, she always wondered where she came from. Sadly, Margaret passed away before she ever found the answers, leaving Emily to pick up the search on her behalf. We have that a lot. We have a lot of grandparent searches here where our parents are gone, but we still want to know who our grandparents are. Now, as usual, Margaret's adoption records were sealed, and no one in the family had any information about her origins. But Emily wasn't willing to let the past remain a mystery. She took a DNA test, hoping it might provide some clues. And when she came to us at DNAngels, we were ready to dive in. Now, right away, Emily's DNA matches pointed toward a family from Salt Lake City, Utah. The names that kept appearing in her closest matches were familiar, too familiar. This wasn't just any family. It was a Latter-day Saints family with strong ties to the Mormon Church. We worked cases involving LDS families before, and we knew that untangling family histories in these communities could be challenging. The families tend to be large, records aren't always public, and sometimes non-traditional family structures make it even harder to determine relationships. But we were determined. Now, within days, we identified Margaret's biological father. That was the easy part. Samuel Whitmore was a prominent member of his community, and his family tree was well documented. But finding Margaret's mother was a different story. At first, we assumed it had to be Samuel's wife, Ruth Ann. After all, they were married, had multiple children, and the timeline seemed to fit, and the DNA, until we took a closer look. Ruth Ann had given birth to a child just before Margaret was born and another shortly after. That meant she simply couldn't have been Margaret's mother. She was accounted for elsewhere, right? So if Ruth Ann wasn't the mother, who was it? That's when we noticed something interesting. There was another woman in the household, someone who wasn't listed as having any children of her own. That was Ruth Ann's sister, Eleanor Whitmore. Now, at first, we thought we might be dealing with a polygamy situation. Given the fundamentalist background, it wouldn't have been unheard of for Samuel to have multiple wives. But the deeper we dug, the stranger things became. Eleanor had never married. She had no children that anyone knew of. And she spent most of her life living quietly within the Whitmore family. But there were whispers, hints that she was different, that she had secrets. And as we worked through DNA triangulation, we confirmed it without a doubt. The biological mother of Margaret was not Ruth Ann, but her own sister, Eleanor. My dog is squeaking her squeaky toy. Now, we may never know exactly how it happened, but based on what we uncovered, we can make an educated guess. It's likely that Eleanor had a secret relationship, whether it was consensual, whether it was scandalous, or whether she simply found herself in an impossible situation, we can't say. What we do know is that when she became pregnant, it would be unacceptable for an unmarried woman in her community to have a child on her own. Instead, her daughter Margaret was quietly placed for adoption. The records were sealed, the whispers faded, and life moved on as though it had never happened. Eleanor never married, never had any more children, and as far as we could tell, never spoke of her past. When we shared our findings with Emily, she was overwhelmed. She had spent years wondering about her mother's origins, and now she had answers. While it was heartbreaking to learn that her grandmother had lived her entire life without ever acknowledging Margaret, it also gave Emily a sense of closure. She reached out to her newly discovered Whitmore relatives, and to her surprise, some of them welcomed her with open arms. Now, though Eleanor has never spoken about her past, there were relatives who suspected something but never had proof. They were grateful to finally know the truth. And so, Emily was able to give her mother the one thing she had always wanted, a connection to a family she never knew. Your right to know matters. Stories like this reminds us why our search for the truth is so important. The past may be complicated and secrets may be buried deep, but your right to know your biological parentage is more important than someone else's secrets. If you're searching for answers about your family history, don't give up. DNA has a way of revealing the truth, even when the past tries to keep it hidden. If you found this story fascinating, leave a purple heart in the comments for our client. I know that her daughter's going to be watching the comments, and she would love to hear your feedback. Until next time, friends, have a great week.